Hey everyone, it's Valeria here. I just wanted to tell y'all a little bit about my story, and maybe y'all can relate a little, and we might have some things in common. And I know if I was joining a group led by someone, I would want to know at least a little bit about their life. I mainly grew up in San Diego and Atlanta. I spent the first 5 years of my life in Mexico, and my mom, ever since I was a baby, raised me very healthy. She was always health conscious. She would make me almond milk from scratch as a baby, and in the house, like growing up, we were never allowed to have soda in the house or Pop Tarts or any kind of sugary, junky food like that. Um, and we rarely ever ate like junk food or fast food. I think I grew up pretty health conscious compared to the average Mexican American. So that was really awesome. And living in San Diego, I think it's safe to say that's one of the healthiest cities because the weather is always nice. People are very active. I had a very active childhood. I would love to like ride my bike or go to the pool, go walk with my friends. It was just amazing. We would go to the zoo a lot or like the aquarium. I really fostered in me like this love of animals, this appreciation of nature and the environment, which I contribute a lot to like my inspiration for later on studying environmental engineering because I was just so fascinated by like the world around me and the beings around me. As a little kid, I actually struggled a lot with constipation. Sorry if that's TMI. You will learn fast that I'm very comfortable about talking about poop. I struggled with that a lot. I actually landed in the ER as a little kid because I had so much pain in my stomach. It was essentially because I hadn't pooped for days. so I My mom got me a nutritionist and he recommended this diet for me that essentially kind of reset my system, flushed everything out, and that from that moment on, I realized like the profound impact that nutrition has on our overall well-being and on how our organs function, and how you should really be eating a lot of vegetables to optimize like your cellular well-being in general, like in your body. So that was really cool to kind of experience that as an 8-year-old. As much as it sucked going through that experience, it was very eye-opening. When I was 11, we moved to Atlanta. That was a big change. I really spent a lot of time with my family in Mexico when I was living in San Diego, and being so far away was really hard, especially in holidays. Like I would cry every Christmas, and we moved here when I was 11, so that was middle school age, and that was a really hard time in my life. I was very shy at that age, and it was very hard for me to make friends. Thankfully, I met some awesome people through orchestra, but before that, I kind of got stuck with like the mean girl crowd, and that led to a lot of like self-esteem issues, which kind of continued throughout middle school and a little bit of high school. I just felt very awkward. I would compare myself to other girls. Felt like I wasn't developing fast enough, if you know what I mean, as a girl. I felt like I was just this tall, skinny, gangly, nerdy-looking girl. I had braces. That did not help. My hair was like way frizzier than this, like just Hermione level, like Chamber of Secrets Hermione. Yeah, so it just really did not help for my self-esteem. I would say, like, looking back on journal entries that I wrote during that time period, I was pretty depressed. I would talk about disappearing and wanting to run away, and not really feeling like anyone understood me. But all that kind of got better in high school. I made some really awesome friends. I kept doing orchestra. I joined cross country. That was my first exposure to really like being physically active in my life. Besides like my time living in San Diego and like going to the pool and all that, cross country really instilled in me this value of like improving upon your current condition, increasing my mileage, like challenging my body to like push those limits. But then at some point during that, I feel like I really plateaued, and that was partially due to I had recently gone vegetarian, but I had no idea how to fuel my body for that physical activity. I had no idea how to make sure I was getting all the right nutrients, all the right vitamins, how to balance like carbs, proteins, and all this stuff. And no one else around me was vegetarian that I knew of, so I didn't feel like I had anyone to talk to about it. My parents thought that I shouldn't do it. They kind of supported me, but also weren't gonna like cater to my needs, if that makes sense. Yeah, and in high school, I put a lot of pressure on myself to be like the best in everything. So the fact that I wasn't like number one in cross country, I was like, kind of made me feel bad about myself, but I kind of got over it. However, in my academic life, it was very hard for me to accept failure. I would cry over B's. I was definitely a straight A student. I was very involved, like National Honor Society, Spanish Honor Society, president of a couple clubs, and it was just really a lot to put on myself. No one told me to do all that. I just went for it, and I felt like constantly stressed, and some people would breeze through high school, and I was not one of those persons. I studied really hard, and later on it kind of caught up to me, all that stress. My senior year, I got diagnosed with achalasia, so it's essentially when your esophagus and your stomach are connected by a sphincter, and whenever you swallow food, that sphincter relaxes, like that muscle relaxes, but mine wasn't relaxing, and this led to me not being able to eat solid foods, and then quickly it became to like I wasn't even like able to swallow water really. It would take a couple of tries, but when I say swallow, I mean like swallow and it go to my stomach and meet my stomach. I would swallow and it kind of would get stuck, and I would feel like tightness in my chest, or I had trouble breathing, and I would have to spit the food back up. So this led to me just not eating as much. I was very tired all the time. I was really, really, really skinny. Like, it looked like I had an eating disorder. I think a couple of my acquaintances probably thought I had an eating disorder because whenever I would go out to restaurants with people, I had to make a stop to the bathroom because I couldn't get the food down. And it was just a really, really unpleasant time in my life. My parents were really worried. I was really worried. I didn't know what was going to happen. It took 6 months to diagnose, but fortunately we found an awesome doctor, and I was able to get surgery for it, and now I'm all good. I just have to remember to like get in a zen place whenever I eat, and it's fine. I can't eat very hurriedly or like when I'm stressed out, but I think that's a good thing. And it definitely taught me that stress is not worth your health, and if you're constantly worried about stuff and putting pressure on yourself, and that's negatively impacting your health, then what's the point in excelling and getting straight A's if you're just like all sick? There's really no point in it, in my opinion. So yeah, that was a good lesson to learn, but I don't think I truly learned it because in college I didn't treat my body the way I really should have. I got my taste of freedom, and I would go out a lot. I did not sleep enough. I was getting 4 to 5 hours nightly. I would drink excessive amounts of alcohol, and it was just not a great place. I kind of struggled with like dealing with the pressures of engineering school in a not super conducive to my health way, and I carried some of those bad habits into my professional life. So I graduated December 2016 and started this job in Kansas City, and I was going to all these happy hours, trying to meet people, trying to put myself out there, trying to make new friends, because I did not know a soul in Kansas City, and I started gaining a lot of weight because of the drinking and the going out to eat so much, and I quickly felt very sad. I would get home to my apartment and cry a lot because I felt so lonely. And I would just watch Netflix and sometimes just like drink wine by myself, sometimes even half a bottle, because I didn't know what else to do with myself. And work wasn't busy enough for me to like do overtime. And I actually sprained both of my ankles, not at the same time, but that made it hard for me to run, which is one of my outlets. So I got in this place of like, I was eating like crap. I wasn't running, which was the only way I knew how to be fit. I did not know how to lift weights or do any of that stuff, and I was afraid of hurting myself. Um, and around that time when I was in the slump, I started going to a therapist as well, because it was just really, really hard and I didn't know how to deal with it. Um, and then a couple months after that, I found this community of awesome ladies who do challenge groups and fitness programs and help people not only on their physical well-being but as well as like their mindset and their mental well-being. And I felt like a totally new person. Like when I started my job, I was drinking at least 2 cups of coffee a day, and I didn't feel like I was truly living life. I felt like I was just going through the motions, and I wasn't aware and I wasn't mindful of things that I did. Like when I would go to work, I just felt like my mind wasn't there. I wasn't fully conscious of everything, if that makes sense. But once I started working out regularly again in these fitness programs that are um, very easy to follow and very fun, and I started meal prepping, which is something I had hardly ever done in my life. The concept of like preparing your meals for the whole week just like revolutionized my life and my grocery budget, honestly, because that cut out all the crap that I was eating out. Um, and it just truly made me feel like a new person. And I no longer felt the need to go to therapy. I no longer felt the need to feel sorry for myself about not having friends in a new city. I just like focused on bettering myself, and I like fell in love with the whole process of it. And now that's why I'm a coach, because I love sharing that. So I will talk a little bit more on the fitness side in the next couple videos, but that's essentially just a rundown on my story. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching.